Good morning, everyone. I'm Pippa Odell. I'm a co-founder and MD of T-Vision. First of all, just a tiny little bit about where T-Vision is now. We've been going for over 20 years, but we've experienced an awful lot of growth in the last, oh, that's odd. My screen's just jumped back to the audience. Can you see my screen? Are you sharing?
Yeah, we can still see your screen, Pippa. Yeah, all good.
Okay. The business has basically, let me just see if I can come back to it. For some reason, it's jumped off mine.
No, we can still see the T-Vision technology slide.
Okay, there we go. So where was I? Right, so whilst we've been going for 20 years, the last year has definitely seen a lot of growth at T-Vision. So the business now has over 35 staff, and 40% of our customers have now moved to SaaS. So I know on this call we've got some of our customers who are using Nav on-prem, and also some that are on the SaaS environment. And that's very much what all resellers are experiencing at the moment, which is that we've very much got a hybrid of customers who are using the solution in lots of different ways, on lots of different license structures. We very much have our own in-house development team, and we're a top 10 reseller in the UK with one of the largest teams. So our growth this year has been 36%, and most of the areas of the business have had increases, so increases in delivery and support, and also in some of our back office functions. So to tell you a little bit more about the Microsoft landscape and some of the different terms that you see. So these are the three main building blocks at Microsoft. You've obviously got the Office 365 environment, which is now being bundled into an M365 environment. And there are an awful lot of apps that come with that. So traditionally, we were just used to Word and Excel, but now we're all working in this hybrid world. We're using Teams. Many of us will be using Planner. We'll be looking at setting ourselves tasks and to-dos and delegating things across the workforce with them. The middle icon is the Dynamics 365 icon, which is an area where Business Central sits. And then the last one is the Azure platform, which is where those of you that are on SaaS, Business Central is hosted on SaaS. But even if you're in an on-prem world, you may be using Azure services now to store data, and it's a growing business stream for Microsoft. The thing that we're being told all the time is to try and do more with less. So I think every business in the UK is seeing these messages that we've all got resource shortages. It's no different in the Microsoft channel. So for example, Microsoft UK, when it looks at its partners, it knows that it currently has 70,000 vacancies in the Microsoft channel in the UK. Many of you work in distribution, and so you've got disrupted supply chains. We've all got an uncertain economy. There's political instability with what's going on in the Ukraine, and we're all being asked to be more agile and to do more with less. And the way that that's sort of fed out into the Microsoft ecosystem is by trying to join things up more. So here you've got Business Central or Nav, and what they're looking to do is integrate it much further into Outlook. So those of you on latest versions can have an experience where you're effectively working out of Outlook and seeing data on your customers when they send you emails that is Business Central data. So very much looking to integrate that as part of their business. One of the ways that they use this is they've taken cognitive reasoning which is part of the Azure services. And what that cognitive reasoning does is it says, I need to be able to understand what this email is saying. So it picks out words within the email. So if, for example, you get an email from a customer who says that they'd like to order something, it recognizes those words, and then it gives you a kind of a next step to be able to automate that process and basically ask you if you'd like to create an order for that customer. Obviously, it doesn't know everything. So if you're looking for, let's say, a particular item that they're looking to order, then it will try and go and find that item for you, but it might not know what the variant is. It will look in the customer record and see what they've ordered before from you that's similar and try and suggest things for you. But basically, from an Outlook email, you can very quickly create a suggested order for a customer just by using this cognitive reasoning. And that's part of Microsoft building up its kind of AI platform. It's also got a piece of technology that it's actually rebranded. I still call it Flow because I think it's very easy in the business for us to understand that Flow is a workflow tool and allows you to set triggers in Business Central and then flow them into the other applications. So this is a really powerful tool. For example, if you had something, maybe you've done a survey of your customers in MailChimp. With the application connectors, you can ask for the answers that come from MailChimp from that survey to flow into your Business Central database if you want to. And update records in Business Central. You can also set triggers. So one I was discussing yesterday with a couple of people in my office was the ability to be able to track changes to vendor bank details and create a flow that automatically says, well, when somebody comes along and changes the data in these fields, let's send an email to somebody and they can then authorize this change in bank details. It's one of the key sort of phishing frauds that you see these days, where they're trying to get you to change the bank details of your suppliers. And so having greater authorization controls around that is seen as a priority in the businesses. We do an awful lot of work with Teams, so integration with Teams is now completely built into Business Central. So I could be looking at a job, for example, and I might see that a job has maybe run over budget or is getting close to budget, or there are some entries on that job that I'm not comfortable with and I'm surprised by. And one of the things I can do is now in Business Central, just click on the job ledger entries or the particular job, and I can send it to somebody, a link to it in Teams very easily, one click, off you go, and have a conversation in Teams around that particular item or job or journal in the chart of accounts if you're a finance person, and that they can immediately launch the link that's been sent and then see in Business Central what the conversation is around and investigate further. So to try and make us more agile in the workplace, Microsoft is very much bringing together its tools within the Office 365 environment into the Business Central landscape and trying to pull them together much more tightly. So I always think customers don't need to necessarily invest in more. What they really need to do is think about, have they got flows going in their business? Have they sort of taken their implementation to kind of the next phase where maybe they have managed to find some time to configure their role centers All of you have got role centres, and when was the last time that you looked at them and thought about, okay, have I really got charts on there that mean something to our business? Have I really got roles that are set up that work with the way that I configure the workforce in my business? So even T-Vision is guilty of this. So we use NAV ourselves, and we've just been doing some work to try and make it easier as a business for us to run the data out of our systems much more in line with how we run the business and the different roles that people do within the business. I don't know if you're aware, but I think Danusha's got it on her slide later on. We run a session every month which is called Ask Me Anything. And in there, you'd be very welcome to talk to us about maybe how you can become more efficient with your role centres, how you can utilise some of these tools that you already have as standard in your solutions. So it's not going to cost you more. It's really about skilling up and making sure that you've considered if this is a better way to present the data that you already have in your system so that you can run more efficiently as a business. So really, integration is the main story around the Dynamics 365, the Office 365, and this new area that you're going to hear more about as your different members of the team talk to you today, which is comes over with the overall kind of branding remit of the Power Platform. And Flow is now called Power Automate. But as I say, I think Flow makes it a lot more easy for customers to understand what the tool is and what it can do for them in their business. So here's a diagram showing Business Central itself and how the elements of the Power Platform are coming into play with Business Central more. And that's really all I wanted to talk to you about, is really how the Microsoft landscape has brought together those three elements of the Microsoft tools that we all work with every day, which is the Outlook, Teams, Excel, and all the integration that goes with that, with NAV and Business Central on an Azure platform, and trying to make it easier for you to get at the data that you have, share the data, and work more collaboratively with a more sort of in a more agile basis, using the tools that are available to you. Okay, thank you very much.